Hello people of the world, how are you in this fine day? So I thought I would make a little educational video, and I'll try my best to explain it right, because it's a bit of a minefield. But what the subject matter is how we as metalsmiths categorise ourselves. So the broad spectrum of jeweller, goldsmith, silversmith. Who is what, and what do they do? Now, this has kind of been brought on because what's been happening a lot with us is we're taking phone calls, and the person on the end of the line is saying, hello, do you do silversmithing courses? And we say, oh, not in Glasgow, but we have a sister site in Banff and they do silversmithing courses. To which then they will reply, oh, but I thought you did make a silver ring class. Warning signs, okay? Now, we have to kind of divvy this up and kind of split it up and try to make sense of what each of these words mean. Now, I'm looking over here because I've got it written down, okay? So I've made notes because, I can't hold everything in this massive potato, hairy, egg, specky face of mine, right? So when I were a lad, back in the days, in the mid-90s, when I had a floppy fringe and a zest for life, I was told I was becoming a goldsmith. My apprenticeship was to be a goldsmith. I was an apprentice goldsmith. I told people I was a goldsmith. And I probably still do. I think the difference between a jeweller and a goldsmith is a goldsmith is maybe just at the upper echelons of the kind of jewellery making spectrum, shall we say. What I've got written here is that a goldsmith is someone who creates high-end jewellery, fine jewellery, is a mount maker, can often or probably will set stones, be a diamond mounter, will be able to wax carve, is familiar with casting, lost wax casting, mold, making moulds as well, and proficient with workshop tools, like for instance the rolling mills, to forge out new pieces from old nuggets and bullion. When I was younger, again, I was under the impression that a jeweller was a jobbing jeweller. So to me, a goldsmith and a jeweller were different. So I would say, back then, not now, that a jeweller would be a jobbing jeweller. Now, a jobbing jeweller is someone who does repair and alterations to jewellery. So ring sizing, retipping, chain end repair, bracelet repair, etc., so on and so forth. However, most of you lot out there, I bet, would refer to yourself as a jeweller. Now, I often refer to myself as a jeweller now as well, because I think it's just a broad spectrum for somebody who makes jewellery. What I've got written down here is a definition of a bench jeweller, which is probably what most of us are. So it says here that bench jeweller is an artisan who uses a combination of jewellery making skills to make and repair jewellery. The jewellery making arts can be subdivided into a very great many categories. Very great many categories of specialised skills. Some of the more common skills that bench jeweller may employ might include stone setting, engraving, fabrication, wax carving, lost wax casting, electroplating, forging and polishing. Now, interestingly, what it does list here is a subcategory of goldsmithing, which is probably kind of ties into the theme of what we're talking about, that a bench jeweller, yeah, but there's goldsmithing as well, which is, as we were discussing, somebody who is just a little bit elevated and has spent a long time mastering the trade, and so therefore can call themselves a master goldsmith. Which then leads us on to from jeweller, goldsmith, and then silversmith, which is away over there in a category of its own. So just because you work in silver, it doesn't mean you're a silversmith, okay? I'm sorry to say, because it's an entirely different craft altogether. A silversmith will create large decorative pieces, vessels, plates, cutlery, candlesticks. So these are made, if you go to a museum, you'll see these ancient things that they've made back in the day, huge decorative things, big candlesticks that are all put together in separate pieces. They're raised by witchcraft, I think, from flat pieces of metal, and they make things, balls out of them. And I don't know how they do it. I think they're all wizards, personally. So it is an entirely different craft. Now, I've been doing this for nearly 25 years, and I have no idea how to raise a bowl, how to create something that you hold in your hand from a flat piece of metal. I think it's an art form in itself. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful craft, and one I would love to learn, but I don't have the time yet. So it's a whole different thing entirely, and it's confusing because the people who named it, obviously back in the day, just went, yes, that person there works in silver, they should be a silversmith, and then that person over there, I was working in gold, they should be a goldsmith, right? And this is where the confusion comes from. So to sum up, we're all jewellers, okay, because we make jewellery. However, some of us are goldsmiths because we make high-end fine jewellery, and other people are silversmiths because they make lovely pieces of a larger scale, mainly in silver, but often in other metals too. Okay. So I've probably completely confused myself. I have no idea if this video is of any use to you or any way, shape or form, but I tried my best, and that's all we can wish for, lads. And I'm just here to chat to you on this lovely day and just babble on and ramble on and ramble on. So I think that's about it. It's time for me to go and have a coffee and goldsmith.